Hello, it's Sarah from Hardcover Hearts, and I'm here today with my week of reading wrap-up. This is where I talk about the books that I've read, what I'm currently reading, and could potentially read next week based on my mood. So I hope everyone is well and healthy. I had a really good week this week, a really, really strong work week where I was able to achieve something that I've been working for like maybe 4 months to try to do, and finally did it all on my own, and I'm incredibly proud of myself. So, but that kind of spilled over into a lot of extra hours and not a lot of reading. I did finish a BookTube Prize book, but of course I can't talk about it yet, so you'll have to stay tuned. And I also had a DNF. A did not finish book. So I'll talk about that in a moment, because what I first want to talk about is a book that I did read and I really, really liked it. There's so much potential in this because it's the first of a series. So this book was Elizabeth George's A Great Deliverance, and this is number 1 of the Inspector Lynley series. So the reason I was turned on to this was Kate Howe and I have been doing buddy read. We read the Nancy Mitford Love in a Cold Climate together. And we were talking about mysteries. We were talking about those types of things. And I was saying how frustrated I am that I've run through all of the Louise Penny mysteries and I'm just waiting for her to write new ones at this stage. And she mentioned that there's a series that she thinks is similar in the sense that the inspector, you go deep into his psychology, and there's a lot of that depth of character and interesting philosophy and psychology that exists in the writing of the book and how it's set up, and specifically in the 2 characters of Havers, Detective Havers, and Inspector Lynley. So I looked it up in my library and it was available, so I grabbed it. And she was not wrong. She was not wrong. I don't tend to like modern contemporary mysteries set in a place that I know. England, America, those are kind of, I don't know why, but I do know why. I prefer locations that I'm not used to, where I get to learn about the culture through how they handle the criminal justice system, the police procedures, stuff like that. Or I like historical mysteries. So to open another one that's set present day-ish and in the UK, I was like, I don't know, let me give it a try. But it really, really good. I really love Detective Havers. She is a woman who has a massive chip on her shoulder. She feels like there's just a lot of things against her, and it's not untrue. She feels her class very, very deep. She feels her gender very, very deeply. She feels left behind, and she's struggling with a lot of challenges at home with her family, even though she's an adult woman. But she's almost been suspended in this time, and is given an opportunity to come back to do a case with Inspector Lynley. And her assumptions on why she was chosen are not correct, but we follow her line of thought and we see it start to crumble as she works with this detective. And the dynamic between these two, and we're introduced to him through her eyes and through her experiences, and then we start to see him and his perspective. And so Kate was 100% right that I really got vibes of Louise Penny and the Gamache series here. So we don't have the same cast of characters that round out the mystery, but that's completely fine, because there's so much compelling story between these 2 characters that I'm good. So I'm very interested in continuing on with this. So thank you so much, Kate, for introducing me to a new series that I can get into. So let's talk about the DNF. Y'all, I was so disappointed. I didn't even make it 50 pages. This is Writers and Lovers by Lily King. And I was hearing so many great things about it. But man, this is not for me. I really liked her previous book, which was Euphoria. And that was a fictionalization of Margaret Mead with her husband and lover when they were in the field doing the anthropological work. And so I had high hopes. I had very high hopes, given the fact that I really liked that book and I was hearing good buzz about this. But this is not for me. As of late, I'm recognizing that I don't get along with a lot of contemporary voiced fiction that's kind of everyday life, normal fiction. It needs to be a little edgier. And this was, I just did not believe or like the main character. I didn't like the voice. I think I made it to like 27 pages and there are already 4 scatological jokes in here. So there was just too much that did not work for me from the jump on this one. So I DNF'd it. Oh, it's such a bummer. But let's talk about better things, things that I'm more excited about. So first off, continuing with my buddy read, my group read of Belinda. This is by Maria Edgeworth. This has been a joy. This keeps surprising me. There is so much here, so much to talk about. There is maybe one of the first lesbian characters in early 18th century writing. There's a lot to review here. I'm very much looking forward to it. We have 2 more check-ins, so we're just breezing through. Very excited to talk with everyone on Sunday about this and starting to tee up for our May read. Then I'm doing a phenomenal buddy read with Britta at the second shelf. I'll put links to any booktuber I talk about. I always put links to their channel below. So this is 1,000 Ships by Natalie Haynes. I think this made it through the Women's Prize into the next round. So we're having a fantastic time reading this and chatting and talking and catching up. And I think the thing that we keep coming back to is the deftness with which she's writing. She is a really, really good writer. Now, there isn't necessarily anything groundbreaking here, and she's not pushing the boundaries of the Trojan War. She's not reinventing anything. She's not imagining beyond the milestones and the scopes. But what she's doing is painting a kaleidoscopic view of everything through different people's eyes, but not of the same event, but of different events. And so you're able to move through the milestones at different points through different people's lenses. And so she's keeping it going forward. The characters that she's writing she's really nailing different voices. I find that the Calliope Muse chapters are my favorite so far. Very quotable, very, very well written. So enjoying this a lot. Let's see. And then I have this book that my husband and I started listening to, even though I have the copy here. This is one of my favorite writers, someone that I look to as a guide. She provides me so much insight, so much insight into how to approach things in modern day. This is Rebecca Solnit. This is her memoir, Recollections of My Nonexistence. So I started listening to it while I'm in the background while I'm working. My husband's been listening to it too. It's just so good. It's so good. Now, what you're not getting here is a straight narrative. She's not giving you a timeline. You know, I grew up on this, I was born on this day, and, you know, my childhood was like this. What she's doing is a different approach. She's really looking at times where she had to fight to figure out who she was and to come into her existence, because there were forces that battled her and told her what she needed to be and how she needed to be. And so she's looking back and remembering those struggles. And her voice, if you have a chance to listen to it in audio, her voice is so soothing and she's so erudite and so well spoken. And I just love how she speaks. So I'm delighted so far. I'm going to finish that up very soon. Then the library gods benefited me the opportunity to read Real Life by Brandon Taylor. this I was hearing everybody rave about, and I was like, well, I don't know if I'd like it. I don't know what I know it's about a gay man in college. He's Black and he's in like Iowa or somewhere in the Midwest. And it's like a finding himself type of thing. And I thought, oh, I just feel like I've read a few of those lately, but this all of a sudden is a fictional account. And I thought, I don't know if I really want to read this, but it hooked me immediately. Completely different tone. The main character is a biology graduate student. And so we are deep in the lab and we are with him as he's trying to figure out what he wants to do, and he's struggling. But he also is different in a distinct way from everybody else in that he is Black and on a specific scholarship there. And so we see him in these relationships that he has and navigating all of that. And it's just written incredibly well. It's written incredibly well. And I know, because I've been reading up on and follow him on Twitter, that a lot of this is based on his real life, that he actually was also a biology graduate student and completely switched to become a writer. And that comes through, the realness of the experiences come through and it resonates. So I'm enjoying it tremendously. I think I'm 60% done. I'm probably going to finish it tonight. Really, the hype is real. I'm hoping he sticks to the landing. So that's a fun one. Let's see. I'm keeping it on, but I haven't made more progress. This is Coventry by Rachel Cusk. What I'm going to do is, I think I'm stalling out on the essay that I'm reading right now, so I'm going to skip to the next essay, and I am going to read the next essay this weekend. Period. I'm doing it. Yes. Okay. And then let's talk about Mood Reading Roulette. So these are books that I might read, and one that I actually am going to read because I have a buddy read planned with Greg of Supposedly Fun. He and I are reading this Australian classic to round out Aussie April. This is Tim Winton's Cloudstreet. This is a story of families, so it's multi-generational is my understanding. But it's supposed to have a lot of great atmosphere. You know how I feel about atmosphere. So I'm really hopeful that I'll get on well with this one. And then the Library Gods also gifted me Acid for the Children by Flea. So that came in audiobook, and it's opened, or the epigraph is recorded by Patti Smith. You know how I feel about her. So that's exciting. And so I might listen to that when I finish off the Rebecca Solnit book. And then one of the ones I've been looking forward to very, very much is Paulette Jiles' new book. This is Simon the Fiddler. I know nothing about it, nothing. But I do know that I adored News of the World. News of the World is one of those books, it's almost like I would recommend it to almost anybody. And I try to keep those minimum because I think that it's very hard to find one that is universal. But this one was so interesting. News of the World is about a man who actually goes out, and his job is to travel around the country and read the news for the illiterate. Now, this is right after the Civil War, and he's aware of all these different, as he's coming into these different territories and all these different places where the shifting balance of powers are, and who is for the North and who's for the South, and all of these things that happen politically. At one point, he is stopped by people that he knows and asked for a favor. They want to return a little girl who was taken by Native Americans and raised as a Native American girl. She was recaptured, taken back in essence, and they want to deliver her back to her family. And they know that he's going in that direction, and so they entrust him to deliver her. And what happens after that is just fantastic. I thought the characters were so rich, and the time frame was unusual. This place was unusual. There was so much richness. So I am really, really hoping to capture some of that magic with this next one. So that's it for me. I am starting to get some deliveries of books that I have had on order because my summer is canceled. So I had been saving a ton of money to just bookshop. So I decided to take a little bit of that and treat myself to some books. So I'll have a little bit of a haul coming up soon, and show you a little bit of the books that I've gotten and I'm very excited about. So that's it. Thank you so much for joining me again. I hope you had a fantastic week. Please let me know about any of the books that I mentioned here, and especially if you think I made a mistake and I should give a second chance to Writers and Lovers by Lily King. I'm feeling pretty confident, but I'm always looking out for other people's opinions and your thoughts. Please stay well. Wash your hands all the time. Don't touch your face, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you. Bye.